Jim, at that first game today, we thought that the first few minutes would be extremely critical based on how the referees refereed the big men. It never came out to be the story. I think in this game, the key thing is Aflalo, what does he do with Brewer, and vice versa early on in this ballgame? Who gets the upper hand?
Now Florida gets the first upper hand as Noah taps it over to Green. And they go to Horford. Mata defending a quick double team. That defense on UCLA is so quick. And trying to get a hand on it and a steal. Just like what they did against Kansas all game long. Up ahead to Ship.
And Ship, much better than Bozeman last year to be a scoring threat for UCLA.
Collison had a look at a three. Now up ahead it's Brewer slashing and drawing the foul and almost getting the roll.
Both teams out and running in this ball game. UCLA showed against Kansas, a team that had tremendous team speed, that they could get out and run as well. So I think they'd be best suited to play a little bit more half court in this game.
Interesting, Billy, that foul's against Aflalo, and it was that Brewer-Aflalo matchup last year that really kind of weighed so heavily in the Gators, on the Gators side.
Absolutely. Brewer took away, as he does so many people. Jimmy's listed at 6'9", but he plays as a 7-footer with that long wingspan. And fellas that play on the perimeter just aren't used to seeing a wingspan like that covering him. There's Florida picking up a little bit full court.
Noah back there.
Yeah, and that, you talk about a wingspan for a guard to get over. Now we see that Brewer is not on Aflalo. They got a switch here, not one that Florida would like to stay in. Aflalo can get a look, and it does.
It's a three.
Got to make that shot.
And their first two shots from behind the arc failed to drop.
He had Green on a switch. He should have been a little bit more patient. Get a better look. Can shoot over the top of him.
As Brewer doubled up.
Nobody hedges better in college basketball than UCLA.
Noah finds the open man from the corner. It's Green. Great rebound by Aflalo.
Looking to run and take advantage of the fact that they've got good team quickness. Maybe make the big men from Florida have to get back a little faster than they want to. Laying off Amute.
Baseline pass to Mata, and the Bruins are on the board.
A breakdown defensively by Noah. He goes for a double team, leaving Mata wide open. No need to double team that quickly. No help from the outside. Watch this hedge by UCLA. They really do it well. Their guys go out, they're tough.
Noah outside, fouled before the shot. And that call is against Mbamute.
Jim, in the game last year, Noah had 16 points, 9 rebounds, 6 blocks to set a Final Four championship game record. Was outstanding in every phase of the game.
Billy, he's the first MOP, most outstanding player of a Final Four, to return to the college game since Miles Simon back 10 years ago. And that's going to be on Aflalo, and that's 2 quick ones.
And 2 quick that really hurt UCLA.
Boy, that's a killer start for them. Less than 2 minutes into the game. Michael Roll immediately replaces him.
He lasted less time than we had for Oden in the first game.
Yeah, by about a minute.
Yeah.
Brewer, reach in by Ship, had knocked it loose, but picked up by Horford.
How about the power of Horford?
Humphrey dribbling out of trouble, and then Collison got a hand on it. Right back to the Gators with 20 on the shot clock.
Well, we saw Connolly in the first game with his tremendous quickness, but always under control. Collison is even faster, doesn't have that same control, but really explodes on both ends of the floor. He can turn defense into offense better than any guard in college basketball.
Boy, Aflalo having to sit that early, Billy. That's not something that I'm sure Ben Howland could have ever imagined at the start of this game. A guy really was so pivotal, had so many key moments in that Kansas game. Shots to beat the buzzer on the shot clock.
Yeah, we mentioned 24 points. Ben Howland out there, he's a defending himself. He's got that blood rushing to the head.
Over to Humphrey.
Shot that he likes. Nice block out.
Mbamute, the one doing it. Mata was racing down the floor and wanted it.
Well, Horford's going to have to realize Mata is going to try to beat down floor every time.
Roll can shoot it from the outside. He's going to launch it. Not this time.
You're not going to get many good looks against Brewer there. You got to get a better one.
Brewer giving it up to Noah. Picked off by Ship. They got the 3-on-2. Ship taking it in, and it's a block foul called against Florida. It's going to be against Brewer.
Jim, how often do we see this well-coached defensive team at UCLA anticipating the pass, and once again, Brewer not there in time. We've seen some nice pickoffs by UCLA against Florida when it seemed like a man would be open. Good defensive anticipation.
Coming off the game, the Bruins with 15 steals against Kansas. Seeing a couple of signs of that already.
They were number 2 in the Pac-10 in steals with 263 on the year. The hedge move not nearly as effective as UCLA's.
Ship.
Tough
Got
shot.
a quick release. But wide of the mark in the battle. Going to call it on Mata. Florida trying to become the first team to repeat since Duke 91-92. But even better, Billy, your research shows what about the starting 5 trying to go back-to-back?
Well, Arizona had a chance to get back-to-back, but they with a starting 5, but they didn't make it to the Final Four. So UCLA is the first to ever do that. I mean, Florida is the first to ever do that.
Howland wanted the walk call, doesn't get it. Humphrey, his second shot from the outside.
Good blocking out by Amute there on Horford, keeping him off the glass.
Chris Richard has come in for the Gators, number 32. Collison puts it up over his head backwards and draws the foul.
Now, last year, Jordan Farmar had 18 points in the game against Florida, but they came late and they really weren't a factor in helping the team win. But I think Collison much more effective because Green is not going to break him down off the dribble because of his defensive quickness, and he can split the Florida defense getting inside.
Noah was out for just a moment. Richard again had taken his place, but now it's Horford as they shuttle in those 3 taking 2 spots. Richard, Noah, and Horford alternating.
Well,
After drawing the foul on Green, hits both.
A really nice rotation that Florida has in the front court, Jim, when Richard, who has become really a stabilizing force as a senior.
Going to bring in Walter Hodge on the next whistle, Florida.
And they have a nice rotation in the guard position, too, because he can come in for a number of people. Both teams playing excellent defense to start this ball game. There's the hedge.
And Mbamute got him with the body.
Now, one of the things that will be tough for UCLA, although they do that so well, is that the Florida guards are extremely strong. You get a powerful guard, sometimes he can beat that play and draw the cheap foul, just as took place there. Ben Holland did not like it because part of his defense, and a big part of it, is that hedge move defensively.
And what he also didn't like, he's got 2 fouls now, so he's got 2 Bruins in early trouble. And Hodge replaces Torian Green.
Well, Jim, one of the things that's very difficult to do if you start teaching this in October, how you want to play that, and the game is not going to allow it to be done that way officiating-wise, takes away a big advantage. Can you see how Collison just doesn't let somebody beat him off the dribble? So quick.
Now for the Boye, also in for the Bruins for the first time, number 12. Down to Noah, he's doubled up. Trying to squeeze something out of it and travels.
Great defense inside.
Boy, defense is the name of the game here at the start. Mata putting the Bruins up by 2.
And Ben Holland didn't want that foul called because he really loves that maneuver.
Saw at Ohio State in the championship game for the first time since '62. And the Bruins here have so far not allowed the Gators to make a field goal, not to make a shot from the floor. Their only points, Brewer free throws.
And you see that Brewer now goes over on Ship, takes the toughest guy to guard, and he handles it.
Bruins have attempted 5 shots. 4 of them have been threes. That ball was kicked by Richard. And why are scientists so concerned about penguins? Well, because so many of them are dying, and you can find out why on 60 Minutes tomorrow. They reset the shot clock from 11 to 15 with the ball kicked under 15. So we'll see what Collison and the Bruins can do.
Nice back screen, but not ready to take the jump shot.
Collison will fade away. No. Boxed out by Horford.
Both teams really putting on the defensive pressure. Again, hedge move almost works.
Walter Hodge is open. Three-pointer, no. And is Horford over the back? Yes, he is.
Pretty nice job by Roll against a bigger man to block him out.
The Florida offense, Billy, so far has, again, not made a shot from the field.
Well, they've had some open looks there, but both of these teams fundamentally are so sound. There was the good anticipation on the pass, a double team down inside. Notice none of the UCLA players trying to steal the ball there, just playing good position defense.
Florida is 0 for 4 from the field, all of them threes.
Follow back in the ball game now with those 2 fouls, Jim.
We've also brought in James Keefe, the freshman, who was a decorated high school player.
Brewer out of the ball game right now. It's the time to get a follow, a decent look.
Roll. Little jump shot short. And that's Green behind the back to escape Roll.
Wisely pulls it out. Noah running the floor as he does so well. Gets position. There's that double down.
Humphrey shoots it up the top of the key. And again, the Gators can't find it.
Humphrey backed away from that shot, Jim. You notice that? Normally he goes right straight towards the basket.
Here's a Flalo. You surprised he's back on the floor?
Yes, I am. And he's got to be careful there because Humphrey is a very good defender against the dribble, but he can shoot over him.
Collison looking to create, nothing there. Back out with 12 on the shot clock.
And now, what every college basketball team needs, a guard that can penetrate on his own.
Gives it up, and Keefe takes it from Collison.
And there's Collison imitating Connolly, Jim. It is so critical now, the way the college game is played, that you have a point guard that when that clock is working against you, can break down the other team off the dribble and create a play. Collison and Conley, 2 of the best at it.
Surprisingly, Collison's first assist in his last 27 minutes of playing time, but it was a beauty. And Keefe could be a little X factor here, Billy. He's been playing better of late.
Right, you can see just since we had them real early in the year against Texas A&M, how he's firmed up his body, working in the weight room.
Comes over to defend. And that play, and Hodge drives in. That's going the other way. They take the basket away from Hodge. He charged into Oboye.
Billy Donovan didn't like that call, but again, we talk about this UCLA defense. Ben Holland, one of the top defensive coaches in the country. And there's a sign held up over there, Jim. Indiana. Let's think about
from the UCLA bench.
Yeah, held up by the. But let's not talk about Indiana in regard to the defense that UCLA played against them. They were 5 for 28 in the first half against this UCLA defense. But they were talking about Indiana in regard to an offensive maneuver here. Brewer back in the game quickly now that a follow is in.
Hard to believe 7 minutes into the game and Brewer's free throws the only points for the Gators.
Well, that's because of the defense being played against them and not being able to hit some wide open jump shots by Humphrey.
Collison. Oboye, that one bounces out, and Noah with an aggressive rebound.
And Florida not able to get the ball out quickly on rebounds to start the break.
This is their 10th trip, if you will, down the floor, and Green puts it up, and finally they hit a shot from the field. Hit it to 3.
Green, one of those key guys that said, I'm coming back to win another one. Tremendous leadership ability and can come up with the big scoring ball games.
Flalo over Brewer. No.
He just takes that shot away from him, doesn't he?
Not a good look.
Nope. Probably had a better look on the curl.
Green again.
A little too quick.
Flalo coming out with it quickly. Driving into traffic. From his knees now, calls a timeout.
Flalo getting a little bit frustrated, Jim, just like he did last year, realizing he gets no open looks.
6-5 Bruins. 8 minutes into it. Goodyear presenting tonight's aerial coverage of the Olympic City 1996 Atlanta. Here we are in Florida so far, Billy, only shooting from the outside.
Jim, right now, Florida, the #1 field goal percentage shooting team in the country at 52.7%. Shooting 14%, 1 for 7, all from 3. Haven't gone inside to go inside and then kick out when the double team comes. Excellent defense by UCLA so far.
Mata Trying to find a way to squeeze something out of it against Horford, but no. Great drive, and Noah has a block. Saw a lot of that last year in this matchup.
He had 6 last year in the championship game, as we pointed out.
Flalo, is that going to be his third? It is.
Jim, we were surprised he came back in this game early. We talked about him being frustrated on offense, but how about what this does to him because of the defensive effort?
Now back to the bench he goes with a timeout. The score, that is accurate, 6-5. Look at this, no turnovers so far for the Bruins, 4 on the Florida side. And as you noted, Billy, hard to imagine 8.5 minutes into the game, and they have not attempted a shot inside of 3.
But Flalo on the bench, Jim, with 3. Now, when UCLA, the last game they lost to Cal. In that game, Flalo was 1 for 7, 0 for 5 from 3. Cal beating UCLA the first round of the Pac-10 tournament. They need him on the floor, but they need even more importantly to be scoring, and Brewer took away his offense early. He's 0 for 2 in this ball game, but he really hasn't had any good looks, and I think his frustration on the offensive end probably had him reaching on the defensive end.
We're seeing for the first time Russell Westbrook in the game for the Bruins. He is a freshman out of Hawthorne, California.
So we've got 2 point guards in the ball game. Much smaller, though, as Westbrook than Flalo.
Almost lost it right there.
Sure did. Straight man. There was a little zone press full court, but then straight back to man-to-man.
Remember, they also don't have Umba Mute, who's been down since he picked up his second in the game's first 5 minutes. He got 8 on the shot clock. Collison's aware of it. Goes down low. Mata. Noah defending. Mata.
Pretty nice move by Mata. That little extra pump fake, but is not a scorer that they can count on to lead them here offensively. Where are the points going to come from for UCLA? Ship.
Well, we haven't seen it so far.
And he'll have Brewer on him the rest of the way.
And there's Brewer slicing through the lane. That's how he is. Why he is so tough.
Jim, UCLA is in some serious trouble now. They have a team on the floor that really has to look long and hard to find any points.
That basket by Brewer, their first 2-point attempt of the night. And Florida right now is on a 7-0 run.
And did you see how Brewer told Richard, get out of the way, I've got Ship? He realizes how important it is now to shut Ship down, to take away the #1 option that UCLA has. Here's the matchup.
UCLA has missed its last 4. Westbrook just into the game, has it taken away by Noah. Noah unable to get the handle, and Collison, how did he save that one?
How did he run it down? Noah should have just got possession of the ball.
Splits the defenders. They had the numbers for a moment. Now Ship, here he is, leaning in and banking it in.
Nice job powering Brewer, but you can see how UCLA has scouted Brewer's defense, and they just don't want to shoot over him.
Timeout Florida. That broke a 4-minute field goal drought by the Bruins. Flalo down with 3 fouls. Ohio State defeats Georgetown 67-60. Pivotal play there with about 1:41 to go. David Lighty with the 3-point play that put him up 9. He was spectacular defensively as well.
Jim, before they came to us for that interview, I said to Thad Matta, how about Lighty? And, you know, a coach just loves to have a guy who can come off the bench and just do it on both ends of the floor. Lighty was tremendous. I believe a freshman from Clark Kellogg's high school, so Clark's got to be pretty proud of that one.
Down low they go. Richard dunks it. Noah with the assist.
Florida really having their way right now. I realize they're just up 3 points, but you can see some desperation right now early. If you're Ben Holland, you just want to keep your team in the game. Florida goes to a 2-3 zone now. Roll is the guy that should look for the jump shot.
UCLA's had to go 9 players deep already in this game. Here's Ship.
Pretty nice fake. Good job.
That's a 2. And that's a timeout, UCLA. So 8:51 to go in the first half. And Florida leads it 11-10. Billy, they reviewed for a moment. The shot by Ship, was it a 2 or a 3? They ruled it a 2 on the floor.
Well, it looks like that right foot might have just touched the top of that black line. but a real good pump fake on his part against the 2-3 zone. I was kind of surprised a little bit that Billy Donovan went to the zone, Jim, because he had been so dominant with these matchups in the man-to-man. You've got Ship down there on Noah. Noah with a lot of size on him. Let's see if they get the ball to Noah down inside.
And there's going to be a hold call on Mata as Noah had some position on him. Noah has not attempted a shot from the field to this point. Vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament at ncaasports.com/Pontiac. A $100,000 scholarship contribution from Pontiac is on the line. So they're going to say Horford was the one who was fouled as they bring in yet another sub. Aboya comes back in for Mata.
Now Horford, the MVP of the SEC tournament that was held right here, so he's used to playing in this arena.
Gators like playing in this dome.
Yeah.
Huh? They've won their last 6 games here. They won the SEC tournament in 05. And as you said, Billy, just a month ago in 07.
Boy, this UCLA bench is getting longer and longer, but guys that Ben Holland would like to have off the bench on the floor.
They need to try to survive the rest of this first half. This is really a patchwork lineup right now.
This man right here, Collison, as Billy Donovan goes back to man-to-man, which is, I was really surprised to see them in that zone. Gave Ship and Roll an opportunity to get a better look. How about Horford out here on Ship?
Now he switches over to Collison.
That's worse.
Collison steps by him. Gives it up to Aboya.
That was a bad switch by Florida to get Horford on 2 men that had a big advantage on him with quickness. Good job by Collison to see it. Not getting the ball to Noah down low, taking advantage of that size matchup with Ship.
Keith trying to defend on Horford. It's a size edge there for the Gator. And a foul first on Keith.
Well, Keith thought he was doing a pretty good job. Didn't want Aboya to come over for the double.
We got the under 8 timeout. Hey, Billy, let's take a look at the Powerade option.
Well, you see Ben Holland kneeling right down, and his option right now is to try to get through this 7 minutes and 52 seconds because he does not have Aaron Aflalo, who has been in serious foul trouble from the get-go. Had to sit down with 2 quick ones. Where do you come up with 17 points a game, the #3 scorer in the Pac-10? Where do you replace him? The answer is you don't, and thank goodness for the way Ben Holland coaches defense, or his team would be in serious trouble. He's just trying to steal time now.
Horford at the line for a 1-on-1.
Not one single offensive rebound in this game up to this point.
Either side.
Either side.
It's amazing.
And that's because both teams are well coached in blocking out.
Both teams shooting 33% from the field.
Here's that 2-3 zone by Florida. They come out of timeouts often in that 2-3 zone and drop back to man-to-man the next possession.
Ship got Brewer to commit, steps up, and hits another jumper. He's got a beautiful release and shot, doesn't he?
He sure does, and that was a great pump fake. 2 in a row by Ship to get open. It's very surprising to see Brewer leave his feet like that because of his reach.
Puts the Bruins up by 1. Collison almost got away with that one. Almost had the theft.
Great anticipation, plus his great quickness. Keith doing a nice job out there, Jim.
Really hustling defensively.
Really hustling.
5 on the shot clock. Brewer knows it. Puts it up.
Huge. First team all-conference defensive player of the year in the SEC.
Collison over to Ship. He's open for a moment. Goes the other side, and he's now, Billy has said, he's got to be the one.
And is the one, Jim. He did that with a nice hesitation dribble. Horford thought he was going to shoot the ball on our side of the basket. Took it underneath. Good job. You notice how Green has not been able to break Collison down at all.
Again, it's Brewer. And again, it's Brewer coming up big.
Jim, what's happening right now, and Florida making a nice adjustment here. Horford's realizing there's double down on him, so he's catching the ball and throwing opposite before the double team takes place.
Brewer with 12 of the Gators' 19.
That would normally go to Humphrey, but Brewer's making up for it.
UCLA, after a slow start shooting, has made its last 5. And now Collison tried to get it over to Keefe, and it's knocked out with 7 on the shot clock as Noah checks back in.
So Noah, Jim, really important to get the ball to Collison quickly. Going to be a timeout before that because you want him with 7 seconds with the ball in his hands.
Howland called for it. Bruins will talk it over. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis analyze the first half, plus Thad Matta and Mike Connolly of Ohio State will join them live on the set. Also an AT&T Naismith Watch update all coming up on AT&T at the half. Now that timeout, Billy, they have only 2 left for the entire game. Remember, they had the one Aflalo had to call in the corner. They got 7 on the shot clock now, inbounding.
No screen for Collins. Here he comes. This is where you want the ball. He is so quick.
Over Humphrey.
Good idea.
Noah sweeps it away for the rebound. Up to Green. Here come the Gators running at their best. Humphrey puts it up for a 3.
And you notice how Humphrey actually set himself up over in that 3-point area, just waiting for the ball kicked out. Didn't even try to go for the traditional break.
Foul outside. Humphrey now 38 consecutive games with at least 1 3. And the Gators have their biggest lead of this low-scoring affair. And look who's coming back in for the Bruins, Billy. It's Mbamute for Keefe.
Well, this young man who was the top rebounder for freshmen in the Pac-10 last year and an all-freshman player has really been hampered with leg problems this year, and obviously not the same guy.
Ship missing that time. And the defender roll slipped, and Green hits the 2. And the Bruins now face their biggest deficit of the tournament.
Jim, you can see what Billy Donovan has done in these timeouts. Guys, get the ball inside and immediately kick out opposite for wide open jump shots. It's working. And you've got 3 guards like, oh, what a block.
That's Horford and pulling it down. Hodge. Nowhere to go. And stolen by Ship, threw it right to him.
Big turnover by Hodge.
Horford defending. Chip the other way. Aboya underneath. Waiting. Putting it up. No.
Horford got the hands on that ball. What a great defensive effort by Horford. Jim, that was UCLA's basket easily, except for the big man who did a tremendous job.
The foul called on Chip, his first. And there's his father, Tito.
Interesting, Tito played against Billy Donovan in college. Donovan had his greatest scoring game ever against Tito's team.
Tito had a little bit of an odyssey in his college career coming out of the Dominican Republic. Started at Houston, LSU, ended up in Miami.
Yep. Those were recruiting sagas there during that period of time when a young man who was projected to be one of the next great centers that we'd ever see in college basketball, that never came to be.
Brewers back into the Gators. 1 of 2 for Horford.
If you're Ben Holland again, you're just trying to steal minutes.
Mute's blocked by Brewer and slapped over to Noah.
And there's a situation. You're trying to get around Noah. Horford's there, Brewer's there. Excellent shot blocking.
That ball thrown away. That's going to go to the Bruins.
But again, the good idea by Florida. They're getting the ball inside, immediate kickouts.
A 9-0 run for the Gators. Jim Nance with Billy Packer, and look who's here, Billy. Tony Dungy, the Super Bowl winning coach of the Colts. You know, I told you long ago that being in the presence of Tony Dungy reminded me of someone. Wasn't talking about a record on the bio.
You were talking about
just John Woods. Just a
demeanor.
Presence about him, his demeanor, like a saintliness, if you will. There's Roll coming up short, and UCLA has now missed its last 7, Billy, shooting under 30%.
Well, a tough break for Ben Holland to get Aflalo out of the ball game. He's got Mata out of the ball game right now. You just don't know where the points can come from. Now you can see they're not doubling down because they know what Florida's doing.
Reach in call against Westbrook.
Florida in great shape right now.
Big games deserve big TVs. Win a $10,000 entertainment room only at mycokerewards.com/NCAA. Speaking of Coach Wooden, we know he's watching this game. We know that Coach Howland spoke with him after the regional final victory against Kansas. And we wish him all the best. 96 years young.
And still as sharp as anybody could be at any age.
What a mind. What a man.
And here is Noah. And watch this rotation on this shot, Jim. It's just hard to believe. I don't even know how he does that. I've never seen that kind of spin and rotation on a basketball in my life. Not a great shooter and never will be with that rotation. But he can play.
Noah has 2 points. Both from the points are from the line. Has not even attempted a shot from the field. They've got a double-digit lead. And Ship working his way in right into the face of Noah that time.
Well, give Ship a lot of credit because he realizes the burden's on his back right now. He has got to score because they just don't have any other scorers on the floor.
They've just gone 3.5 minutes without making a shot before that one. And Roll kicks it. Oh, he thought he had gotten away with it for the steal. That rotation, it's a side spin, Billy. You're talking about Noah.
I don't know how he does this. Now watch the rotation on this ball. It goes sideways. I have never seen that in basketball in my life. And Jim, what it means is unless his shot goes directly into the basket, it has no chance to hitting the rim and staying up there. It'll rotate right on out. There's kicking the ball again.
Up ahead to Ship. Horford's coming in, but Ship says no way. This one we're putting away.
That was a sensational pass by Collison. Rather than trying to hit the man on the run, he threw it up in the air so his teammate could run under it. UCLA hanging in here. It's amazing.
Little spark for the Bruins. Brewer. Boy, he knows how to break their heart, doesn't he?
He sure does. And when you see that ball being rotated out, you think it's going to be Humphrey or Green that hits the shot. But tonight, that's 3 for Brewer,
who has more than half the Gator points. 15 now for Brewer.
Well, we expected him to shut people down in the defensive end, but I didn't expect him to be the lead scorer here.
Well, he's disappointed with that reach-in call. Brewer with 2 now. See Ship with the dunk. He has scored the last 8 UCLA points.
And Jim, we remember Brewer last year going scoreless and then coming up with that incredible game winner against Georgetown, his only field goal in the second half. Florida would probably not even have been in the Final Four last year.
Well, Georgetown gave him the closest game of the tournament last year. Here's Roll. Has an open shot, too strong.
Horford is just like a vacuum cleaner here on the rebound and defensive end, getting them all.
Hodge.
Noah pushed before he got that ball. The official on a delayed whistle caught him. He knows it. Doesn't like it, but he knows it.
I don't know that he knows it. He's furious. He's shaking his head. There'll be a 1-on-1 at the other end.
Now that ponytail may be bobbing, but there's no question the reason he was so wide open on the rebound, he pushed earlier.
And he goes directly to the bench.
You see him inside. Watch this, Jim. There's the little push. Thank you very much. And doesn't get away with it.
Well, that's now 2 on Noah. Aboya at the line for a 1-on-1. With a minute 37, Billy, in the half. He's not stellar at the line.
No, 57% shooter. But he hits that one. Nice follow through. Stayed right with it. You know, we sat with Ben Holland yesterday. He came over and talked to us while his team was out here in that hour workout. Did you notice, though, how he focused? And it was really interesting. The follow, when they shoot free throws, they have all guys stand on the line, but only use 1 ball. The follow had a ball, and he said, put the ball down. And
yes.
Boy, do you remember that?
Only 1 ball.
1 ball.
And you concentrate.
That's right.
And if he sees even just a momentary lapse in that focus and concentration, you're called out on it.
Yep. And there was no question either. Cavallo got rid of that ball. There's that kick out. They're not getting the ball to Humphrey on the kickouts, though.
Dan Warner, you saw him touch it, number 21, in for the Gators. Here he is. Oh, first on the line. No, traveling on Horford. UCLA has a little chance here, Billy. They maybe do something here. They, the second half they'll be able to restart with a Flavo.
And Brewer's on the bench, so Shipp is the guy who can get the ball over the top of his defender. He's got Green on him right now. I'm surprised they're not getting the ball.
See Noah up at the top of your screen for a moment. Stand up and scream out some encouragement to his team on defense. Westbrook over Green.
UCLA missed an opportunity that time. Green was on Shipp, and Shipp never got a chance to touch the ball. Horford's not going to take that shot and doesn't want to pick up the charge either.
Green in traffic. And that one again, the quick hands taken over. Westbrook slices to the middle. Maybe could have put up the shot, but instead dishes to Shipp.
And Jim, give UCLA a lot of credit. Collison with those quick hands down inside, really taking away any dribble penetration by Green. And unlike last year where Green could break down Farmer, he's not getting that with Collison, who did not score a single point in last year's game, but making his presence felt here.
That's the second on Horford. So now, Billy, for Florida, they've got 2 on Brewer, 2 on Noah, 2 on Horford.
Well, nothing like the problems that we saw in the first game with Hibbert getting foul trouble, Oden getting foul trouble, and nobody to replace of equal quality, whereas Florida can go ahead and rotate their big man.
2 shots for Shipp. There you go. Shipp, of course, Billy had to sit out last year with the hip surgery and watch his teammates go all the way to the championship game. He roomed with Jordan Farmar. And he wanted to come back, be right in the middle of things this year, and take him back to the Final Four and go one step beyond last year.
Right, he got to play 4 games last year, averaged 11 points and almost 5 rebounds a game, but could not play the rest of the year. This year he's had some huge games, 24 against Arizona, 22 against Cal, and an excellent performance against Texas A&M earlier this year.
He got them both. 6-point lead with 23 seconds.
But I like the way he stepped up, knowing he had to get the points in his first half.
Shipp has 13.
Well, offense will leave you from game to game, but defense is pretty steady, and that's what's keeping UCLA in this game.
It's Warner coming off the bench. Back of the rim.
Got to question the shot.
Bruins have some time. Shipp double get off in time. Yes. No, the back of the rim. That could have been one to bring it to 3. Greg Gumbel and the crew coming up after the break. We've reached the half here of semifinal game number 2, and the Gators lead it 29-23. And a Flavo, Billy, looks like he's going to start the second half sitting.
And one of a couple of things jump out at you. Why is UCLA even in the game? Well, the reason for it is they had 1 turnover, 5 assists in the first half, and here you have Florida in a situation with 10 turnovers. So they gave away an awful lot of scoring opportunities.
So 10 turnovers committed by Florida, only 1 by UCLA. There's been only 1 offensive rebound in the entire game. That was by Aboya of the Bruins. That's it. Down low, Mata.
Mata just not going to be able to score consistently against the likes of Noah or Horford. So again, those points, Collison's going to have to pick up his offense a little bit to help Shipp out.
Brewer giving it up to Noah. Noah's shot, that was blocked by Mata from the other side. That was the first attempt of the game from the field by Noah. Down low, Mata this time at the other. Gets the block, then gets the basket.
And Jim, Noah loafed going down floor. Mata beat him with the block, and then Mata hustled down court. Noah loafed, it cost him.
All 4 tournament games coming in here for the Bruins. They have come out of the locker room for the second half with a run.
Huge.
Bucks, Humphrey.
You see what's going on. Billy Donovan, a terrific strategy on his part. If UCLA wants to double down on the big men, that ball is coming out immediately cross court to the jump shooters.
Roll. He's a shooter too, and he bangs home a 3.
And Collison with good eyes throws cross court in a different way. Same philosophy. Guard that time cross court as opposed to big man cross court.
That was the first 3 of the game for the Bruins. They were 0 for 8 in the first half. Double up on Horford. Leaves Humphrey open. Look out! Here he goes.
Jim, you've got to take your chance if you're UCLA and not double down on Horford. See if he can score against your postman defensively, Mata. And there goes Florida to the 2-3 zone.
Humphrey comes out, buries 2 threes.
They have to be on roll. Probably the best pure shooter in the group on the floor for UCLA.
Bamute limited in the first half with 2 fouls. Oh, Mata almost pulled it off.
Nice idea on his part. He used the rim to keep Horford away from the easy block. Bad shot by Green. Good pass, though.
Has a shot from the floor.
Jim, you don't like to see those, do you? That brings back memories. Bad shots from the outside,
You
the
had to do
layup
it, huh?
inside.
Albuquerque,
Houston, NC State.
Yeah. The mayor of Maryville, Tennessee, about a 3-hour drive, a Knoxville suburb, now has tied Bobby Hurley most made threes in NCAA tournament history in a career, with his 2 coming out of the locker room, giving him 3 on the game, 42 in his tournament career.
That's 108 on the year, and you think about Bobby Hurley, he was not really a great outside perimeter shooter, and he's one of those kind of trivia questions. Who holds the record? Because you didn't think about him doing that. Of course, he was the most outstanding player in Duke's second repeat year, and they came back. Christian Laettner won it when they beat Vegas and Kansas, and then Bobby Hurley came back with the great Final Four. But Humphrey on the brink right now of surpassing Hurley and holding that record himself.
Well, you see Flowers back in, chip on the floater, and that one influenced by the Gators. Flavo has to be so careful, and now it's Brewer from the wing, his first miss. Mata able to save it, almost bounced off and out of bounds.
Pretty good job by UCLA getting back, because Florida had the numbers, the 3-on-2 break. Didn't handle it very well.
I want to point out that timeout was called by UCLA, as we mentioned, but that leaves him with only 1 the rest of the way. That's it.
I mentioned Flalo, 0 for 5 from 3, 1 for 7 against Cal in the game that UCLA, last game they lost. He has got to get started offensively.
Bamute taking it underneath. Horford, though, right there, and Horford's presence forces the travel.
And Jim, we watched the explosiveness of Amute last year, and it's just not there this year. Hope the young man can get himself well for the rest of his career, because he really was some prospect a year ago.
That's just the second turnover by the Bruins in this game, their first in 13 minutes. We hear from Sam Ryan that Josh Shipp was cramping at halftime, dehydration. Now it's Noah. That one bouncing off the back. And Mata fell on it, and he was partially out of bounds. So back to the Gators. Tomorrow, the Amazing Race, 2-hour special, not to be missed. It's an all-new Amazing Race All-Stars. And it's tomorrow on America's #1 network, CBS.
It's a hold that time on Noah, who moved very well without the ball. Easy call for the official. Noah a little frustrated, but let's see if he gets that ball in the low post again. I think the next time he gets it, he will score.
It was Aboya called for the hold on Noah. He takes it all the way back.
Wisely lets it hit ground instead of trying to catch it and going over and back. Green has not been able to break Collison down off the dribble yet tonight.
Aboya right on the face of Horford. Humphrey has the win, but not the shot, and the follow-up. There is Noah.
As I said, the next time he gets the ball,
you didn't
he will
expect
finish.
You didn't expect a cheapie now.
No, he got fired up in the fact that he was missing some slow ones. And when he plays with energy and determination, much tougher to stop. He's been a little lackadaisical in this game so far. Not like him.
They got their largest lead, 11 points.
You know, Flalo wonders if Brewer is actually part of his uniform.
Collison, no. Long rebound out to Shipp.
Nice pass.
Dish, and a foul on Horford, #3. So, it's one of the few breaks right now on the Bruins side who find themselves 11 down. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, where there is Final Four fever in Atlanta, from downtown here on Peachtree all the way out to Buckhead. And Al Horford, without a field goal attempt. How about this? And his presence so key in this game. He had 10 rebounds at halftime. Has not taken a shot, so he sits with the 3 fouls.
13 rebounds, as high in his career as 18 as a freshman. Flalo saying, please let me get a shot off somehow.
And Noah got a hand on that one. Richard pulls it down.
And we thought at the top of the ball game that the key was going to be a Flalo matchup with Brewer, and it has been no contest, and that's why Florida finds themselves in a good working margin.
Flalo 0 for 3 from the field.
Noah wanting that ball down inside.
There's Brewer left open. Hits another one.
And Jim Flalo having all kinds of problems on the offensive end, and then has Brewer who's just smiling and bouncing and laughing down on the defensive end. Got to be so frustrating for the first-team All-American from UCLA.
And that's what Brewer does all the time. Doesn't have to be in the game when he's hitting shots. Always laughing, cutting up.
It was a pretty good screen for a Flalo, but Brewer gets right over it.
Brewer has 18. That's first points of the second half coming on that 3. Mbamute dishes. Boya.
Not good hands by Boya.
Not really the shot they want. And that's out of bounds to Florida.
Smart move by Humphrey, blocking out, not trying to reach for the ball.
Ship coming in, and UCLA in danger of getting so far behind it cannot recover. Quitting smoking for the first time. Scientists reveal how to crack into your own DNA to make it easier. Important details Monday. CBS Evening News.
So we're talking about Collison and Flalo, 2 guys that average almost 30 points a game, and now Brewer turning it on here with his passing. Ben Holland is going to call that last timeout he's got, right?
That's it. The Bruins out of timeouts. As the Gators have gone on a run here. Well, Florida on a 12-0 run here. Taking a 4-point game, belting out now a 16-point lead.
And with Horford over there leading the cheers, the man that really set the stage for this with his tremendous rebounding in the first half.
And the Bruins, again, cannot call another timeout.
Cannot call another timeout. A Flalo with 4 fouls on him. Brewer guarding him. Where do the points come from?
Collison, follow-up Mbamute. They had been scoreless 5 minutes until that follow-up slam. Humphrey with a 3. He's got the all-time record for threes in NCAA tournament play.
Jim, because of that power inside that Florida has, you got to kind of slough off a little bit as a guard, but then those kickouts to Green or to Humphrey and tonight to Brewer just are tough to handle.
Mbamute with a layup. Billy Flalo with 3 fouls.
Was it 3 fouls?
It's 3, but it's 47-32, even with the putback and the 2 trips in a row where the Bruins have scored. Down 15.
And the man that's farthest end down on the bench for Florida right now is Horford. Obviously no need to bring him back in, but it's surprising where he's sitting on that bench all the way at the far end.
Past the managers and everyone. Humphrey, and 1. Now he's going to get a 3-point opportunity the other way.
There's the 4th foul, and you can see Flalo just totally discouraged tonight. And he had to play Humphrey for the jump shot. Watch this. He plays him for the jump shot, and then Humphrey wisely just goes right by and takes him. You have the 2 leading scorers I was pointing out average almost 30 points a game, Collison and Flalo. Tonight they are 0 for 10.
How about that? 0 for 7 for Collison, 0 for 3 for Flalo. Flalo again saddled now with his 4th.
He threw an elbow that time on Humphrey. Could have got himself in trouble and does.
Lost it. Could have been called for his 5th.
Yep, he's really so frustrated. It's been 2 years in a row. The first-team All-American this year is taken right out of his game. And not much that Ben Holland can do now. He has no timeouts left. Florida, the superior team by far, with all the offensive firepower. Brewer coming back in.
That's Mbamute's 3rd.
And Jim, you know, we talked about this, and you and I were talking about it for many weeks here in regard to this Florida team. Would they be like Vegas and come into the Final Four undefeated, ranked #1 in the country as Vegas was, and be somewhat out of focus? I think the thing that helped Florida more than anything, those losses to Vandy and LSU and Tennessee that in mid-February, it just made this team get back into focus. We have a call, one going one way, one going the other way on the part of the officials.
They haven't still given the official indication. They're going to call it. Well, they're going to sum it first.
There's a little disagreement here. This is Billy Donovan, of course, wanting it to be a foul on the defense. Ben Holland concerned.
Well, they're still trying to settle it out. We'll figure it out in a moment. Hey, Billy, as you look at the summary, 1 of 10, just the one shot by roll. That's it. They're out of timeouts. But they've just ruled that now a foul, basically a double foul. Both officials unrelenting on their position. So then they charge, each one with a foul, and they go to the arrow.
Correct.
Which, like everything else, goes to the Gators.
I think that was a very fair way to do it. Both officials were very emphatic that they were on top of the call. They discussed it, come up with the only solution that makes sense.
So that was a third on Mata and the first against Richard of the Gators.
Boy, Noah really wants the ball.
And Brewer will take the shot. Comes out the ship.
Well, you've got Green out of the ball game right now. Horford out of the ball game. There's Brewer's length.
Wow, did he climb for that one? He timed it. He was just setting it up for the last 3 steps.
Jim, with him, no matter where he is on the floor, he is a factor defensively with that length. 6'9". I mean, he just looks guys that are pivot men in the eye, but then he goes out on the perimeter with that length. And you can see Noah. He has had it. He is really going after it now.
Watch the block by Brewer.
Well, he is a long way from Collison when he leaves the floor. Look at, he was about, what would you say, a foot over the top of the rim?
I would say every bit of that.
Yep.
That's the 4th on Mata.
Well, UCLA without weapons now, in effect, to make a comeback in this ball game. Florida's rested Horford. They rested Green. They have to now just keep up their intensity level.
Green brings it back out inside of 11 minutes.
Well, he's happy probably to see Collison off the floor, that maybe he can beat somebody with a dribble, because he hadn't been able to do that tonight.
Boy, Humphrey coming out and hitting those quick threes to start the second half was so similar to last year's championship game.
Yep.
When he did the same thing to begin the second half. Actually hit 3 last year. Right out of the box. Second half. 5 on the shot clock. Green. And Ship able to take it.
Not a good possession by Florida, and they're losing some of their intensity. And I wonder if Horford's going to come back in this ball game shortly. Yes, he is.
Yeah, there he is.
He's right off the bench.
Swallows still can't get a shot to go. Noah rebound and taken off to Hodge. Back to Noah. Stepping in, heading to the line.
Isn't it amazing how Noah just turned it on? He got annoyed when that shot was blocked, and he knew he didn't hustle back down court. From that point on, he's been a different player tonight.
That is now the 4th on Mbamute. So we've got 3 different Bruins saddled with 4.
And again, rested club coming in for Florida. Humphrey will be coming in shortly. Horford will be coming in, and there's Noah with that sidewinder. Brewer goes out. Billy Donovan in great shape right now. You know what's interesting about Donovan is that he is now the dean of the SEC coaches. Can you believe a guy as young and successful as he is the guy that's been longest in the league? 17 different coaches have been in the SEC since he entered at Florida.
Of course, Kentucky, if all the reports are right, would like him to continue to be the dean of all SEC coaches, but switch schools. I talked to Billy about that yesterday, seriously, and he said, I have not, I want to just state it, I have not talked about it to anyone. I haven't dealt with it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm here to win a championship. The non-issue to him yesterday. Ship draws the foul. Vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament. NCAAsports.com/Pontiac. A $100,000 scholarship contribution from Pontiac is on the line. Chip scoreless in the second half.
You know, and we talked to Ben Holland, and he talked about the ball game that Aflalo had against Cal, and he said, obviously, we can never see another game like that from him and expect to be successful. And of course, unfortunately for Ben Holland and UCLA, that's exactly what happened tonight.
Horford and Brewer. Return.
And this man on the foul line did keep his team in the game in that first half with some terrific performance, knowing he had to take over offensively.
He did. 14 of the first half, 23. And his first points of the second half, he's immediately replaced by Westbrook. Needs a breather. Well, the biggest blown lead of the whole season, a game they led and then went on to lose for Florida, was a 5-point lead against Vanderbilt. And Horford with a Richard follow-up.
Horford surprised UCLA by taking that shot, and therefore no block out from the weak side.
And the lead swells back to 17. Bounce pass underneath. Collison hits from the field. His first made basket. He's got 4 points.
Isn't that amazing? Key offensive performers just shut down completely. But Collison has done a nice job on the defensive end on Green.
Just taking that backcourt, shutting it down. You're right. Ball on the floor. Boya trying to get it away from Richard, who takes off baseline, and it circles in.
Well, that wasn't the way you diagram a play, but Richard with his strength, and Boya is a pretty strong fellow too, but he goes on that baseline. We're looking at a guy, there aren't many kids in college basketball as strong as this man, and he has set a record tonight as well as Humphrey in playing more games than anybody in Florida history.
Mbah a Moute, Billy, has just fouled out. So really a non-factor here tonight.
Well, he, as I said before, a young guy who showed great promise and quickness and hustle, exploded off the floor as a rebounder and defender a year ago, has really been bothered with problems physically this year and nowhere near the player he was.
They bring back Mata with his 4. He's back on the floor.
Moute last year had 8 double-doubles. This year, 4 double-doubles.
Richard to the line. The SEC 6th man of the year. You know he could start for so many teams.
Oh, yeah. And
quality teams.
He's got the experience. And what it allows Billy Donovan to do is have that perfect rotation of big men so that everybody's always fresh and most of the time out of foul trouble.
Westbrook, there's an opening there, and he got fouled outside by Humphrey. You know, Aflalo had 10 points in the championship game.
They were, 3 for 10, though, Jim. Those 10 points were somewhat meaningless because Florida controlled the game completely. Brewer had shut him down early, but not like what he has done tonight.
0 for 4. Chip fade away. Josh 54-38 with 8.5 to go. And a steal forced by Boya.
And look at Collison explode right by Green.
And Billy Donovan says, you know what, guys, I don't need any more.
No, Billy's not going to be satisfied. You got to get your mentality right back here and play hard.
That was their first turnover of the second half. With Masters Extra at CBSSportsLine.com/MastersLive and Masters.org. You can watch exclusive live video from Amen Corner. With Amen Corner Live and bonus play-by-play coverage of the entire field throughout the tournament 1 hour prior to telecast. Starting this coming week from Augusta, and a tradition unlike any other. 54-40. And after the brief timeout, the Gators get another little burst. As Horford follows it up.
In fairness to Mata, he was trying to help out on that cut. Horford rested.
Flower puts up a 3, not able to even get that one, which was halfway down.
But Jim, when you're having the kind of night he's having, you have a hard time staying with your follow-through. There's Green, who's having a little bit of a nightmare turnover night, not doing the job in a point guard.
UCLA's made only 1 of 12 from behind the arc. Look at this play by Horford. Gators got it going again at the Final Four. Billy, the salute at halftime for college basketball Hall of Famers, the new College Basketball Hall of Fame. Oscar Robertson, Bill Russell. Dean Smith was here.
Right. It was represented by 5 people to be the initial class. Oscar, of course, and Bill Russell representing the players that all advanced to that Hall of Fame. 2 of the greatest of all time. Each one played in 2 Final Fours. Bill Russell's team in San Francisco winning both times. Oscar, you know, it's kind of funny. Everybody thinks Oscar was in that team that beat Ohio State, but he had graduated at that point, and then Cincinnati beat Ohio State in '62 and went to 3 straight championship games, winning 2 and losing that 3rd year. But 2 of the greatest players of all time. Coach Wooden of also and Dean Smith were on it, along with the Naismith family, as the 5 initial inductees into that prestigious Hall of Fame.
Only 7.5 minutes to go. And we could have the great oddity of the 2 colleges that met for the national championship in football. Could be just a couple of months later meeting for the championship in basketball.
And no school had ever held the championship football and basketball in the same calendar year, and now you have Florida with an opportunity to set a record that I don't know, Jim, if that will ever be.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yes, it is.
Ever match. That's 4 on Horford. Understand Tressel, Coach Tressel, Coach Meyer, Urban Meyer are both in the building here tonight.
Now let's see if Green, after that timeout, gets his head back on in the proper way, because Billy Donovan not at all happy the way he handled the ball the last few possessions.
Brewer gets 3 again and drives in and commits the charge. There is Jim Tressel. It's the 3rd foul on Brewer.
Well, I don't know about that one. I thought Brewer had left the ground. A follow with his first wide open look, and he can't get anything to go. Jumps in the air in total frustration.
0 for 6.
It's one of those things that you don't sleep for a week after a game like this one.
And how many times? You've seen it many times, though. Well, it could be another turnover. I thought it might have been off of Green's foot.
That should have been backcourt. No question, that should have been backcourt. Hit off Green's foot. He's having a bad few possessions here, and I'm not surprised to see Billy yank him out of there.
Foul on Aboya, his 2nd. Ohio State again, 67-60 winner earlier tonight over Georgetown. 1-1 coming up for Green.
Jim, what's really interesting is you get a player like Green, and you're used to breaking your man down off the dribble. Just as we saw Flalo get frustrated tonight because he's being guarded by a guy that took away his offensive game, Green has gotten frustrated because Collison is right in front of him. So now he's making some poor decisions out there. I'm sure Billy Donovan will talk to him about it. Collison will do that to a lot of people, as will Brewer on the other end of the floor.
7 points for Green. Here's a Flalo. Is this the time? Yes, a 3.
Collison just taking that ball away so that Green can't even get it in his hands. He has some speed. I really admire guys, even though this game is out of hand, he is still playing and hawking Green.
It's Noah driving in on Aboya. Followed up again by Richard. And the foul.
Well, again, you can't fault Mata, you can't fault Aboya. They had to help each other out on this drive by Noah. Good job by Noah putting the ball on the floor. He's been extremely aggressive. And there's that weak side rebounding. It's been Horford, it's been Richard, and sometimes it's been Noah.
Richard with 11 points, 9 of them coming in this half. He had 17 in the 1st round game against Jackson State, a career high to open up this NCAA tournament. Now he's got 12 here in the semifinals.
Jim, he's had double-figure games, so it's not unusual for him to come in there with that. He got fouled on the play, no call. And Ben Holland agreeing with that. That was one where Flalo got hit right on the wrist as he let go of that jump shot. Interesting, if you get hit on the elbow, the shot usually comes up short. if you get hit on the wrist, the shot goes long. There's no question he was fouled on the play.
Humphrey comes in, Brewer out. Mata, good fake. How about that?
Noah assumed there was going to be a handoff. And the assumption was not correct.
Mata able to unleash a little of his own frustration with that dunk. There's Noah for the boy trying to defend. It's Richard with another tip in.
Mata didn't even know he was there that time. Richard putting on a show right now. Matched up with Collison, who can take him off the dribble. Nice job.
Three-pointer.
Good recognition by Collison.
It's a 13-point lead as we move inside 5 minutes.
Well, give UCLA credit in this respect. They have never stopped playing hard-nosed defense.
Noah, and he's going to the line for a three-point opportunity.
All about offensive rebounding. That big front line of Florida that was stymied early in this ball game on the double teams and then started kicking out. Now it's open for them inside as UCLA is trying to stop the outside shot.
You saw his father, Yannick. Gators plus 17 rebounding edge over the Bruins.
And what a run this man had last year in the NCAA tournament. Record for Florida, 29 rebounds in the 6 games, 6 blocks in the final for a new final record in blocking. And without question was the most outstanding player.
Ship in the paint, and Noah again influenced the shot.
Well, if Noah will look back at that play where he was not hustling down court, I guarantee you, he said to himself, this is not the way I play. And from that point on, he has really been a terror in this game.
He's got 10 rebounds, 8 points. Hodge dishing. Richard. What a presence for Richard in this game now. 16 points, 14 and a half. Flalo wanted to go inside. And that's going against Hodge. An inside game with Florida.
Well, the good game plan by Ben Holland early, Jim. Anytime the ball went inside, there were quick double teams coming from the opposite direction. For about the first 6-8 minutes of the ball game, the Florida inside men were trying to hang on to the ball. And then Billy Donovan made a great adjustment and said, guys, as soon as you catch it, fire it cross court and out. Brewer hit the jump shots, then Humphrey started to hit some, and that took away that double team pressure that Ben Holland had to call off. Now with no double team, the big guys are wide open inside, particularly to get anything that's missed.
And the Gators have 22 points in the paint in this half. In this half alone. So Flalo will shoot one more. Again, the Pac-10 Player of the Year, the first Bruin to receive that honor since Eddie O'Bannon back in 1995. 2 for 2.
And O'Bannon, who then led his team to the national championship and the MOP of that UCLA team. And Final Four.
That championship in Seattle. It's Green back out. Noah. Little bounce pass to Noah. And no foul called. We've got the under 4 timeout. Bruin basketball when we come back. 16-point Florida lead. Jim Nance with Billy Packer for the final 3:39 as Florida takes a 6-point halftime game and just blows it open here in the second half.
Well, Jim Aflalo being in foul trouble and never able to get going offensively to kind of shore up what Ship did in that first half. UCLA just didn't have the scoring punch. Here's Humphrey, who's a good defender, as we said, against the dribble. Aflalo starting to get some looks now. Brewer not on him.
Aflalo has 8.
2 away from the 10 he had last year, but no factor 8. Richard down inside with the freshman Keefe waiting for some action. He has really had the last 8 minutes or so had his way in the paint.
Gets one more hoop, he'll have a career high. Talking about Richard. That's Horford though. And Horford,
despite Aboyo's strength, he still was able to get that nice finesse turnaround jumper.
Horford for 7 points. And there's a foul call against Humphrey. And you know, Billy, December 23rd in Gainesville, you were there. Florida defeated Ohio State by 26.
A lot of things different, though, Jim. Horford was not even supposed to play in that game because of his ankle problems, but he did play and played extremely well. You had Oden at that time coming back. He was not in playing shape whatsoever, playing only with one hand. You had big expectations by those Ohio State kids because they had been beaten by North Carolina, but they go into Florida thinking they can really win there, and Florida turned it on, much as we're seeing here tonight, to say, hey, we are the team to beat in college basketball. And with the exception, as I said, those 3 out of 4 games that they had in February where they kind of sleepwalked through the second half of February, it really got their attention back. And I think everybody in the country felt this is the team to beat. And tonight they have shown why everybody was believing that. Nice pass.
Flavo now has 10. That game was actually a 40-40 contest with 17 minutes to go. And then this just got absolutely humiliated the rest of the way. And talking to Thad Mata yesterday, he said they would practice this season at home because his team just caved in. He said, we weren't mentally ready for it. We were, at that point, still so young. Horford back out to Green. Flat-footed 3. Rebound Keefe. And they would put the 40-40 score up on the scoreboard at practice at home. Just as a reminder about what happened there in Gainesville. And Aflalo now has 13 points. They cut it down to 10 with inside 2 to play. A little quick steal here, and it could get interesting.
That was a good move by Green because Collison was right there with him, looking to tap it from behind.
In Florida, well, if you give them this game, and not ready to quite do that yet, it's down to 10 with 152. This would be 11 tournament wins in a row.
Well, let's get into the real world. John Wooden is kind of interesting. He was in 3 NCAA tournaments before, and it was 1-5 with no Final Fours. Then he gets up to Final Four in 1962. His win streak in NCAA tournament, 38 games. So we talking about some kind of record that'll never be broken or not?
What a shot by Flalo. Yeah, not a chance.
Another thing might not be a chance is that a coach in this day and age is at a school like UCLA, and will an athletic director ever give a coach 15 years before he gets to a Final Four? I don't think so.
Oh, that's a double dribble, and it's going back to the Bruins. So let's see what they do with this possession with 90 seconds.
Billy Donovan is talking to Green, and Green really has made some poor decisions, Jim, in the last 6-8 minutes.
And that was last touch by Brewer. Timeout Florida, which probably is a welcome thing for the Bruins, as they couldn't stop it. They've been hustling so hard. They need a break too. Bruins to inbound near midcourt. Hey, get a little 3 here, Billy. Gets a little interesting.
Well, Aflalo has gotten himself loose. Brewer's backed in intent trying to stop him, but Aflalo with a nice move, a push from behind.
Oh, and Holland saying that basket's got to count.
Now the push came before the shot attempt. Jim, really the key now for Billy Donovan, and you'd have to be a little bit disturbed about this. He had himself in a nice 15, 17-point working margin. And then Green started to make some bad decisions, and his team right now has gotten out of sync compared to the way they were playing solid basketball started this second half.
He actually had it up to 18 at one time. Front end of a 1-and-1 miss, but chased down by Keefe.
Mata kept it alive.
Collison, no. And Horford, and that's it for Mata.
Well, good hustle on his part, though. He committed that foul, but he kept the ball alive for his team on a fine rebound. Ben Holland has to like that young man's effort anytime he goes on the floor.
And Bill Howland's going to use this like a timeout before he has to replace the player. Mata, again, that's it for him.
And he was talking about Mata, Jim, and his neighborhood, and what a proud young man he is for all the people that in his area of
who follow
Los
him.
Angeles, California.
Yeah, Huntington Park. Just a legend in his community. Ben Howland compared it really almost like to the whole Fernando Valenzuela when he was a young pitcher out in Los Angeles.
Well, last year
in Huntington Park has become a real hero to so many.
Well, last year, unfortunately, he had all kinds of, and remember the day before the Final Four, he got his nose broken again last year, but he went through knee problems and back problems, but been somewhat healthy this year and made a fine contribution.
Horford at the line for 2. Flanks the first one.
This is not the way Billy Donovan wanted to finish off this game, with the exception of Noah's performance.
It's the second one, back to 11.
And maybe Richard as well.
Horford has 15 rebounds in the game.
Got to be looking for shots.
Ship. And Horford with yet another performance off the glass.
Well, I said his career high is 18 rebounds, but not in a game at this level.
16 tonight. Ties his season high.
Yep. And the commitment that the Florida players made on April 7th of last year to come back to school and try to win another one is now just one game away from accomplishing that.
Pretty special bunch when you think about what they were dedicated to doing.
Jim, what I found to be very interesting is that they all made their decision independent of each other, even though they're very close friends, and came to the decision that if one guy decided to go ahead and leave school, they would all leave, and they all unanimously decided to stick together for one more year, and it's certainly, at least at this point, worked out well for them.
Flower wants it, puts it up. It's Brewer. And a reach in a Boya. Well, they have a chance. They can close out the last 50 seconds. They'll have a chance on Monday night to become the first starting 5 to go back-to-back national championships. And you think of all those UCLA teams. You talked about the 38 consecutive tournament wins and that run they had in the 60s. There was always a starter, at least one, replaced.
Yep.
2 for Brewer.
You know, there were eras, obviously, of Kareem and then Walton, but, you know, the 3-year eras where they'd be in the Final Four all the time, but there was a little mixture of backcourt play there.
Yep.
This crowd has been very quiet tonight because although it has been interesting basketball, it hasn't been free-flowing and exciting basketball.
Boya with another foul, sending Noah to the line. It'll give Noah a chance to pick up a double-double of his own if he can get 2 free throws. We've advanced now, the Gators, to the championship game in the brackets.
Well, it's a pretty nice, comforting feeling when you have Noah now with 9 double-doubles on the year and Horford coming right along, and he finds himself in a situation with 11 double-doubles. That's a pretty nice way to start down in the low box, isn't it?
That's pretty strong stuff.
Absolutely. And then you got
Richard coming off the bench. I mean, he's really become the star of this second half.
He really has.
He did. And 14 in this half.
And there is that side-winding foul shot.
Collison will take that.
Horford with another rebound.
And that's out of bounds back to UCLA. Well, what do you think about Oden going to be in there with those big bodies on Monday night?
Well, he at least won't be looking a 7-footer in the eye, but he will be looking very mature post players, both defensively and guys that will get out and make him run. And of course, that secondary player in Noah that can come over and block some shots.
That's going to be it for Aflalo. I tell you, the kid
hustled, didn't he?
He never stopped.
Yep.
Got taken out of his game with the 2 fouls in less than 2 minutes.
Oh, look at that nice piece of sportsmanship there. Brewer gives him a hug. Aflalo likewise, realizing that he went up against a guy that 2 years in a row took his game away.
It's 17 points, Billy, and you know how late it was before he even got on the board. He is on track to graduate in 3 years. 3 years and 1 summer semester. Junior out of Compton, California.
Green on the foul line, and again, he'll have to go back to that locker room tonight and start thinking about and concentrating on what he must do to keep his team in the ball game, because he faced Collison tonight. And he'll be going against Conley, who has many of the same attributes on Monday. And Collison kind of got to him mentally a little bit tonight.
That's it for Green for the night. With 10 points. Westbrook driving in, laying it in.
Nice job.
Yep.
Oh, thinking long.
4 players for the Gators in double figures.
Ben Holland saying no foul. Let this game finish up.
Well, Collison almost able to get the steal, but that's going to do it. We're going to have this Florida team looking for more history on Monday nights. The Gators kicking in that extra gear in the second half.